you messing with me?
And we can talk. We're going to be talking to him about that. How he fishes shallower. How he finds he's out of the way. I think weren't you guys out fishing today?
Kinda.
More like trying to solve something.
Are you messing with me? Welcome to Bass University Live. It's Thursday night and fishing is wide open all over the country. I hope you're out enjoying the fishing right now. I know all the crew here at Bass University are doing it, and we've got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about Missile Bait 48. John Cruz and the Missile Bait boys came out with 48 different ways to rig the Missile Bait 48. And we're going to be talking about the top 10 ways to do that tonight. Stick baits have revolutionized bass fishing. If you're not using it, you're missing out. If you're a hater, like some people on this show,
that's right.
You're missing out. And we're going to tell you why tonight. I'm going to be letting you in on some of my little secrets that I do with it. And John's going to be talking about his top 10. John is Elite Series champ. He's a multiple classic winner and a good friend of mine in the show. And I look forward to having him on the show tonight. Also, we've got Ken Duke back with us tonight. We really love having him on the show, and he's going to be bringing some amazing trivia question. The keeper of the scrolls is going to be bringing it. We're also going to be having a Bass U battle between me and John Cruz. I don't know what the challenge is yet, but I'm going to try to win it again. I think I have a pretty good record in the battles. But we got that going on tonight with Ken Duke, and we have Tackle Warehouse in the house. Corey from Tackle Warehouse is going to be talking to us about the top baits, the top stick baits, the top colors, the best selling stuff out there in the country. And that's all going to be on the show tonight. So stay tuned. In the house, we got our boys. We got BTC and the Riz. Good to have you with us tonight, guys.
What's up? So
what's going on?
So Pete, it was thumbs up means we're live, and then the point means go. We'll work on.
We got to go back to the baseball signs. 2 touches to the hat, elbow to wrist.
Man, we got to go over these signals. I think everybody heard me on the intro where I kind of stepped all over the intro there. That was
needs to be more complicated.
Yes,
I got it. Well, man, it's good to have you. It's good to have both you guys. I know Riz, amongst your multiple boat malfunctions, you've been out fishing every chance you get.
That's right. Been very fortunate to have some good success early on this year. So all things are going well.
Well, and we talked about this on Ike Live. Go check the most recent Ike Live out. But you had a hydraulic steering scenario. I brought my boat home from rigging, and I was putting it in the water in the Maurice River for the first time. And I forgot about this one. I remembered it after the show. And
that's where I tested my boat, was in the Maurice River the day after I picked it up from the mechanic.
There you go. And it's a river where we live, guys, and it's got a pretty good current flow. So you can't afford to make mistakes because the current will smash into the bank. But I'm going, and as I'm backing up, I'm turning so that the rear of the boat will go right and the rear of the boat's going left. And I'm like thinking I'm forgetting how to drive a boat. I go the other way and the boat goes reverse. And I was losing my mind. I'm like, let me put it in forward. And, so I go put it in forward. I try to go right. The boat goes left. And I was absolutely losing my mind. I thought I forgot how to drive a boat. And what had happened is during the installation, they had the hoses reversed. They were, forward was reversed and vice versa. So, we had to switch them out so that I didn't crash into the bank.
Yes. Did you switch those out on the water?
I can't remember. I think I did. I think I switched them out right then.
After this incident, Pete. So I've become accustomed to things going I don't want to say wrong, but like having to work on things on the boat kind of on the fly. And hydraulic steering oil is now one of the essentials that will be with me at all times, because you can MacGyver a way to fix that line up if you're in a jam, like in a bad spot. But ultimately, you're going to need that hydraulic steering fluid to be able to spin the wheel. So that's now in the truck list for travel.
Yeah. It's in the boat list. I carried I did it with 2-stroke one time. You can put 2-stroke oil in there in a pinch, but then you got to bleed your lines. And
I'm sure a lot of our viewers have been through some of these similar scenarios. In fact, I think I might be getting an idea for a future show. Get the how to fix your boat on the fly, how to deal with these issues. But guys, if you've had these kind of follies on your boat over time, feel free to chime in on the message board. Let us know what happened to you. But more importantly, we want to hear your questions when we get to Johnny about the Missile 48 and the 48 ways that you can rig a missile bait. So if you want to get your questions answered tonight, you have to be on bassu.tv/live. That's where we're going to field your questions. Okay. Anytime we field the question on the message board, we're going to hook you up with a prize. It could be a Rapala product. It could be Bashu official gear. It could be 30 days free for the website. BTC, what do we have going on Facebook?
Yes. So for our Facebook like and share, we have a $50 shopping spree to missile baits. So again, like and share the Facebook feed. At the end of the show, we will randomly choose a winner for $50 shopping spree at Missile Baits.
Sweet.
So yeah, soft plastic rigging stick baits tonight. That's what we're concentrating on.
That's a good deal for $50 to Missile Baits. Right. And guys, if you insist on loafing over there and not taking advantage of 50 days for free on the website, which you should take advantage of 50 days for free on bashu.tv. Get full access to our 700 videos from the best professional anglers in the world. If you don't want to do that, Facebook like and share, we still might be able to hook you up. That's and right. Also tonight, we're going to be giving away a grand prize from Ken Duke, which Ken Duke, as always, provided us with trivia questions. So even more the reason, head over to bashu.tv/live, get on the message board. If you know the answer to Ken Duke's trivia question, we are hooking you up. You're getting 30 days free. You're getting a hat. You're getting 2 bags of soft plastics and some Rapala jerk baits.
Outstanding. Well, Brian, you've been out fishing a little bit too. You had the Ike Live boat build out on the bay.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I was out there yesterday with the tracker out there where the big boys run, with the Biggie Smalls yachts and all the bass boats. And Mike and Becky, the Ike Foundation, they got that derby coming up June 20th out there, and first place is a bass cat. So
got to put your time in.
Yeah, I want to see if I can win it with a little boat. There's a lot of there's certainly a release fish pattern in the Northeast around there. Yeah, everybody knows it. You can do well. Can you beat the flats? We'll see. So I'm gonna take a shot at it.
I think it's awesome. Did you test that torpedo? Did you run it out of power? See how far
we didn't run it out of power. We did run around quite a bit. Made some pretty far runs, ran into some stuff, looking at some things that the bass boat guys can't get into. Nice. I don't think I found the holy grail that I was hoping to find. But
is that a challenge, Brian, that the bass boat guys can't get into?
Well, no, it's a fact. I barely got my boat into it. So, I was in search of the holy grail. I don't think it's the holy grail. There were a lot of empty beds where I went, but they was empty, and I don't think they're coming back to it. So,
yeah. Well, we were out on the bay with John Cox, and it was amazing. Now he can't get in because of you had the height requirement. You had to get low, and our boats can't do that. But as far as running over stuff, man, he is absolutely fearless.
It was like this, Pete. And wow. I went back to it when it got to there. And then laying on the deck of the boat on my back, bench pressing the boat into the water to get the trolling motor underneath the bridge. And that was the scenario. So
yeah, that's some scary stuff. I'll never, ever forget the time you and I did it on the Delaware, where we went, it's tidal here, guys. And it comes up and it'll pin you against the bridge or block you out.
Maybe.
If timing is off. And Brian and I slipped my boat under there I mean, there was 2 inches clearance tops, and the tide was coming in so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still catching my wind from.
I've been through some shit in that tunnel. That's a rough one.
Yeah,
I've been through there and
yeah.
and said
but you
never
gotta do
again.
it, man. I love what you're doing. I love that you're gonna take on that tournament and you're gonna fly in the face of what the majority of the field's probably gonna be doing. You're gonna be fishing by yourself and release fish. Man, I'm telling you right now, those post-spawn fish are going to be feeding. It's not just release fish in that river. And those fish live there year round, and they're big ones spawn in that river. So.
They didn't live there yesterday.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I caught snakeheads and catfish yesterday. So.
Hey, that's good. They're both predators, right? So wherever the predators are, the bass are likely to come in and feed with them. So.
They won't win you a boat, though.
Well, you got some time. Is Mike doing that? Is he doing any kind of that weird weigh-in obscure fish prizes, that kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
don't
should ask Becky about that. I know the one year they did some things. I had sent in a picture of a sturgeon. It was a floater,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
posted it, hashtag the Ike Foundation, and won some kind of prize for. Running into something weird out there. It was like a 6-foot sturgeon.
Yeah, I thought they did that prize one year.
They did.
I hope they did. That's
Yeah.
fun, you know?
All right, man, let's
can,
take a commercial break, Pete.
Let's BTC. I got one more announcement before we go out.
Yep.
Just wanted to let everybody out there know some of the things we have coming up on Bashu TV. We have an interview coming up with Brandon Polinick, and I don't know if anybody out there, if you haven't watched our Brandon Polinick content on the website for winning tournaments mentally, it's a must watch. We have an interview coming up with Brandon Polinick. June the 10th, we are releasing a flipping grass seminar with Matt Herron. And following that, we are releasing an interview with Carl Jochimson down at the Classic. So, guys, there's a lot of great stuff coming up on bassu.tv. And I want to give a few shout outs here to our folks on the message board because we appreciate them. Gary Teague, Eli, Kyle Preston, Wild Bill, NJ Dale Jr., Anthony Darren, Bruce Callis, DL133. What's up, Pete? Big D, David Toll, Lee C, Brandon Stewart, and many more. And guys, we appreciate you being on the message board. Get those questions ready for Johnny when he gets to the Missile Baits 48.
Guys, just tuning in. We're going to be talking about the Missile Bait 48 Ways to Rig with John Cruz. We got Ken Duke trivia coming up, and we've got the Tackle Warehouse top picks coming up tonight's show. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Bass University Live.
The micro jig rod from Cashin is not only a micro jig rod, it also works great for shaky heads, also works great for wacky worms, also works great for smaller finesse style swim baits. So 7 foot 1 inch, medium action, fast taper. You want a workhorse spinning rod, you might want to look at the micro jig rod. I got one, and then I had to end up getting 3 or 4. So the micro jig rod by Cashin, your next workhorse in your spinning rods.
Every moment on the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together, the One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Tackle Warehouse is proud to sponsor the FLW Pro Circuit and is the official tackle retailer of FLW. Providing proven bass fishing gear, as well as the newest and hottest tackle. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service staff can help you every step of the way. And we offer free ground shipping on orders over $50. Tackle Warehouse. Everything for the bass angler at the lowest prices. Guaranteed.
I have to be constantly on the lookout for new techniques to stay on the top of my game.
Giant.
Some have been more successful than others.
Giant.
The finesse fingernail.
Happens every time.
The chain gang.
Broke it off.
The crow's nest.
Never let go.
And don't even get me started on tackle management, especially trying to stop rust and corrosion. Peanut butter.
Not good.
Motor oil.
Gotta keep the rust off all these baits.
WD-40.
Gotta keep the rust off.
Silica, toothpicks, Q-tips, the list goes on and on. I'm hard on tackle, I fish fast, I need my tackle organized and protected. I can't be worrying about losing baits to rust. And when it comes to tackle management, there's only one solution. Flambeau Tackle Storage Systems with Z-Rust technology. The original anti-rust tackle box. Uncompromised clarity. Renowned durability. The infused anti-rust option that is FDA safe and free of harmful chemicals. The organization options are endless, but there's only one. One box, one anti-corrosion technology, one family-owned American-made brand, Flambeau Z-Rust Tackle Solutions. Preserve, perform, repeat.
Welcome back to Bass University Live. Guys, it's good to have you with us tonight. And I can see already while we were in break, I'm joined with my buddy, Elite Series Pro, Elite Series Champ, the great missile bait maker, John Cruz. Buddy, how are you, man?
Good. What's up, Pete? Man, good to be here, buddy.
Man, I'm glad you could be with us tonight. Doesn't look like you're at home right now.
No, I'm on the road. I'm down here in Georgia. I stopped by Spro this afternoon and spent about an hour or two. Actually, it was a couple hours in there. We're talking baits and new baits and existing stuff and trends we see out there. And that was the kind of the gist of it. And then I just came on down a little further, and I'm going to fish with a friend down here in South Georgia tomorrow and just kind of get tuned up a little bit before practice begins.
Nice, because you're right around the corner. You're headed to what, South Alabama, right?
Right, yeah, going to Eufaula. I'm only about, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours or something from where I am now. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be the first tournament in a while. It's going to be hot. I think it's going to be a good ledge bite. I think there still will be some shallow fish. I think a lot of different stuff is going to play, and it'll be fun.
Well, you haven't been fishing for a while, and this kind of always got me, being from the north. Like the first tournament of the season would be like in January or February, and I can't fish up here that time. And
Right.
I would show up to that tournament as just, I tried to prepare, but I just wasn't prepared. Have you been preparing? Have you been like fishing and, during
you're talking about getting into fishing shape 100%. I know exactly what you mean. And when you start the season in like January and February, it's a lot nicer because the days are shorter. So, if you do a practice day, sun up to sundown, you're talking maybe a 12-hour day. But down here this time of year, I mean, it's light from 6:30 in the morning. Well, I guess in Alabama, it'd be 5:30 in the morning until, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I mean, you gotta make sure you don't blow yourself out during practice,
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, and you haven't made tournament decisions, and it would throw my game off. Have you been doing anything? Have you been practicing or fishing tournaments at home?
The last 2 weeks, I've not been out on the water, and that's kind of why I'm fishing tomorrow. I just, wanted to get all my stuff together and get on the road, so I had nothing to do but to actually get on the water and fish, and then go on down and get settled in the hotel there. But yeah, I wanted to get a little day of running the boat, and I relined all but I think one or two rods. So I relined 20 some rods last weekend, and I just want to make some casts with them and make sure everything's good and dialed in. And ready to roll, and then I can go out there Sunday and start our practice.
Yeah, it should be exciting. I know this month is famous for the ledge bite, in that part of the country. So
before we went on, I was just looking at the results. They have a Toyota series down there right now, and one of our bomb squad guys, Michael Smith, one of Missile Bait's bomb squad guys, he's leading with 25 pounds, and a friend of mine, Scott Montgomery, he works for down there. He's with Big Bite. He's in third place, so it's fun. Those guys are smashing them pretty good.
Man, that's pretty awesome. I hear the lake is as good as it's ever been.
Last year was unbelievable. I mean, it took 30 to win everything down there. This year, the weights are a tick down. I don't know. From the people I've talked to, they're not exactly sure why the weights are off just a little bit. It's not like they don't have any more fish in there. They're still catching plenty of fish. Just for some reason, the big ones are not there quite like they were the last, say, 2-3 years. But I mean, still very strong.
Yeah. Do you know about the grass situation down there?
I'm not fully aware. No, I didn't see where any of the guys were talking about it and that were in the top 5. Gotcha. And one of my roommates, Ed Lochran, he went down and pre-fished on Eufaula and rode around a bunch. And he said he never found any expanses of it. He said he saw a little bit floating here and there, but he didn't see any topped out, or none of the bays he went in, he saw any.
Yeah, I know, because years ago I fished down there and there was no grass, and I had heard that the grass had really picked up down there, but I'm sure they try to push it back. But I'm excited because we're gonna be watching. I'm thrilled to death that we have Bass University live starting next week. I guess next Wednesday we get to watch that, and I'm Jones, and I miss it, man.
And this year is a little different on the Elite Series. At this event, I should say, they're going to have the Bass Live on ESPN2 for somewhere between 4 and 6 hours from Wednesday all the way through Saturday. So for 4 days, they're going to have our event be covered on ESPN2 as a live event, and that's really exciting. I'm expecting us to pick up, some new people to join in the sport and checking it out, and hopefully we can get more people into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I heard that same thing about them being on ESPN too, and there's just no sports for them to cover on ESPN. So I guess this is a great thing for them to pick up, and
right.
I hope people watch, because it's so awesome how they do live over at Bass, and guys do such a good job. You guys are going to be at a good lake, so it should be an awesome event.
I would imagine it'd be plenty of action to keep up with on that live, and it'd be pretty cool.
Maybe you'll be catching some on that deep diving Spro while you're down there.
That very well could happen, or I could be catching them on the 48. Up shallow. Like I said, I think there's still a good shallow bite going on. I kind of need to decide what I want to do a little bit before I get there. But I'm going to try to make that decision early in that first practice day of what I want to do.
Well, we'll be watching, but I gotta tell you this, that your crankbait rod, your 711,
yes,
is my favorite caching fishing rod.
That thing, man, it turned out exactly like I wanted. And when we designed it, there was a blank that had the perfect taper, and I gave it to Matt, and I said, "This is the taper. This is money, but we need to have the micro guys on it for the sensitivity." And I mean, when he put it together, I told him exactly the handle length I wanted. He put it together, and it turned out just perfect.
I agree, perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect for that, but it's not the rod for the 48, and that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the Missile Bait 48, the stick bait that you designed, and you've 48 different ways to rig it. That's amazing.
That's right. Yeah, the Senko is the gold standard of weighted stick baits, and I don't call stick baits. To me, they're weighted stick baits. That you put them in the water, they're going to sink. Yum Dinger is a cheaper version of the Senko. Nothing mimics the Senko exactly, and that's and that's why I fished the Senko for a long time. But then I started experimenting with rigging it different ways, and I found, it was difficult to use in a couple different techniques. And one of the ones that I know you are aware of, I call it the reverse shimmy rig. And that's, putting a little small nail weight in the rear of it, Texas rigging it, like that on the front, just Texas rigging the front of it, and putting a little bit of that nail weight in the back. And that thing, man, it will shimmy and go backwards at the same time. And because that 48 has that blunt end on it, that was one of the main reasons that I rigged it or designed the bait. And then obviously with 48 different ways to catch fish on, there's the Senko.
And that's the problem with it is, you have to be, difficult.
I was telling people you have to be a surgeon to get that nail weight in there and not have the bait go crooked. Because if the bait's crooked, and then it's just going to spiral going down, and it's not the same.
Or if you're like me, you got to have your reading glasses with you to even have a chance at getting it in there.
Yeah, you need to have like a little micro gurney. You can put it on there, and then get out your glasses and your mask, and you can put the weight in there just perfect. But that was one of the main reasons that I wanted it. And then there's a bunch of other techniques that I feel like that the 48 is just easier and faster to rig than say a Senko or any other weighted stick bait. I mean, there's definitely other ones out there, the Ocho and things like that. And then the fact that you can switch it up because it's blunted on both ends. You can rig it on either end if you just want to say, Texas rig it on it's a belly weighted swim bait hook. It's one of my favorite ways to fish it. You can do it that way. And then if you catch a couple fish on it, you tear it up, you can turn it around and fish it on the other end. And that was kind of part of the designs. You get double duty on the bait itself.
Explain the differences between Missile 48 and the Senko bait, like as far as the fall rate. There's so many things out there. Like it's because it's got salt in it. People think it had sand in it that makes it sink fast. I talked to you one time about that, and it was enlightening to me about why these baits sink fast and why some don't.
So the 48. So any soft plastic that's made, there is a mixture of plastisol, and that's what holds everything together is the plastisol. That's the most expensive ingredient. And then you have fillers. Different companies use different fillers in order to make the lure how they want. And then some manufacturers, depending on the product, and like with Missile, we have some with and without salt. You can add salt to the formula, and the salt helps make it a little bit denser. But the plastisol is what really is the density, because if you put the plastisol and the salt in there, it makes it real dense. Well, the Senko has almost zero filler in it, so that's one of the reasons that they're so expensive. Is that they have the salt? The salt is cheap. The plastisol is the base. They just almost inject all of it in there, and that's what makes that bait shimmy and sink the way it does. Now the 48 doesn't sink quite as fast as the Senko, but there are other baits out there that actually sink faster than the Senko. So the Senko, as far as weighted stick bait goes, I would say, that's the bar. That's what everything should be measured against. The 48's not quite as rapid, but it's really close. It's really close. And then like the Bass Pro makes that Sticko or something. That one's one of the faster ones. It sinks real fast.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's a little thicker than the Senko, and it's just heavier.
Right. Well, we're talking about the top 10 ways you rig it, and I know you already covered a couple. And
we did. We did that fun deal on YouTube, and if anybody wants to check it out, you can go to we have a 48 ways playlist on the Missile Baits YouTube page that shows people catching me and other people catching fish 48 different ways on the 48. And it was a fun deal we did, and we kind of trickled out those videos, and it was just fun to follow to see what was gonna come up next. But I'll tell you that reverse shimmy, like I said, that was one of the main reasons I designed the bait. And it's my number one for sure. And then I've caught
me too, by the way.
Yeah,
that's my number one.
I've caught a ton of fish just on a light Texas rig, like a little 1/8 ounce I mean, I don't know. I may be looking at somebody who's won a tournament, Texas rig and a black Cinco on Lake Cayuga, but we can't talk about Cayuga because we're going to go there a little bit later. That would be my number 2.
Hey,
Number
by
3,
the way, you also have one guy here in the queue, Riz, who won. He might be mad at me now that I'm saying it, by Texas rigging a Senko recently, banging 25 pounds.
Wow.
Up on the Chesapeake recently.
Wow.
At least
I saw the RZA carried holding those gorillas, man. That's awesome.
Yep. There's no question. And before you go on to the next one, I know we're going to bring Riz in because I know we've got some we got some people watching on Bass University and they've got some questions. Riz, let's take one or two.
Sounds good. First question's going to come in from What's Up Pete, and What's Up Pete wants to know, what's up John? What's your go-to Missile 48 color that you just won't leave home without?
It's sad to say, but it's probably green pumpkin. You can do so much with it. I would say green pumpkin 1, and June bug definitely 2. I like that June bug, even if the water's not super dirty or off colored or Florida tea colored, whatever you want to say it. Those 2 are my number 1 and number 2 for sure.
Green pumpkin steady all over the country. One of my all-time favorites was they make a laminate that's green pumpkin watermelon laminate that I've gone to sometimes that has been effective. And I'm sorry, Riz, if I upset you by giving away some winning juice on you.
It's all right. It'll be different by the weekend, I think. We'll see. Hopefully, they gotta find me. So,
Riz, you got to learn, man. You got to give up the goods if you're gonna be on Bass U, man. You got to give it up.
I'm an open book. I told Brian when I was catching him on a shaky head, and he didn't believe me. Yep. And
you're full of, lies, baby. You're so full of it.
Brian's very suspicious.
We got another question from Dylan on the message board, and John wants to know from John. What's your take on using O-rings on your Missile 48s? Do you like them? Do you not? What's the pros and cons?
I'm not a ringer. I don't do the rings. I was having a conversation with the guys at Spro, believe it or not, about rings or no rings. And the rings, without a doubt, you'll lose fish with them. Now you'll lose the bait sometimes as well. But if you just stab it right in the middle, just like I did right there, you just stab it right in the middle, and what happens is when the fish grabs that hook and it starts to penetrate, there's nothing restricting that bait from sliding up, and then you get the full penetration of the hook in the mouth. The O-ring, somehow as that fish it's getting in there, penetrating, that O-ring will stop that hook from penetrating. So then they'll jump once or twice and then they come off. And the hook landing ratio is nowhere near as good with the O-ring. But I'll tell you one little quick tip is when you catch one and you still have your bait on there, take the bait off, because that's going to tear that hole a little bit. Move it over just about 1/8 of an inch one way or the other, and then go back through the bait again. So it's a new fresh hole, and then the bait will stay on there. And then the next fish you catch, you can move it again one way or the other. If you keep doing that, you don't throw many off.
Yeah, it's funny, John. I completely agree with you. I don't use the rings in most all situations. For that exact reason.
I call it fishing bareback. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
But hey, you were back. And guys on the IM board, we use your question on the air. We're going to be hooking you up with some cool Bass University stuff.
Right. That's right. The first 2 questions actually just won themselves Missile 48s. So, guys, you got some Missile 48s on the way for getting those questions in.
Excellent. And John, you had talked about the backward shimmy. You had talked about the light Texas rig. Yep. What's next?
I was talking about the wacky rig. We kind of touched on that. Wacky rig is definitely probably 3rd, and then 4th is ye old Tokyo rig.
Yeah.
The old Tokyo rig. Yeah, straight from VMC.
Yeah.
And I really like the two weights, on there like that, side to side. The quiver I designed the quiver worm a lot for this rig, for the Tokyo rig. I just absolutely love that worm for this. But if you're fishing the 48, you will definitely catch fish rigging it on the Tokyo rig. So that's another one right there.
We saw you put the Tokyo rig to work. Of course, it didn't have the 48 on it, but you were doing it down in Florida this year.
Yeah, absolutely. That thing, it probably caught, I would say, about a third of the wet fish I weighed in at the St. John's in that event, finishing second there. But then another one of my faves is the belly weighted swim bait hook, and this is different than just Texas rigging it, because what it does is you can do this with the Senko as well. It causes the bait to fall at a faster rate than it normally does. And if you rig it, with the 48, and kind of the same thing with the Senko, is it's got more weight on one end versus the other. And when you rig it like on the big end, for the 48, it will glide and kick going forward. So it looks like a fish kind of swimming and going down. It doesn't really go down like, nose down. It goes down and it just kind of glides and shimmies at the same time. And that dude is righteous when we're fishing deeper grass, areas that have some water, to where in 2 foot of water it's not a deal. But if you're fishing 6, 8, 10 feet of water, it is a deal. You can pitch it out there and just let that thing shimmy, and man, you'll be watching your line. You'll see your line just jump, and one's got it.
That's interesting. I've never used that hook. Makes perfect sense, because you're centralizing the weight a little bit more, and so it's not nosing down on the fall. That's unique.
Yeah, that's a really trick way to do it. And then if you're fishing the shallower waters, fishing just an EWG hook on there, just Texas rig, weightless with nothing in it, that bait's going to shimmy and it's going to fall horizontal. There's just something about that horizontal fall, and you can skip that bad boy as far as you want to skip it up under a dock or an overhang, anything like that. And as long as you've got it, so it's not touching anything, it's not gonna get hung up, and then you got your fight of your life on your hands, unless you're like Brian over there that had a close encounter and lost the battle. Isn't that right, Brian?
What's that? Hey, it happens, right?
That's right. Yeah, he hooked a monster on the 48, and he lost the battle because he threw it into a spot where he couldn't get the fish out.
Yeah, actually, I was throwing throwing the pink 48. I like to throw that like the old pink trick worm. It actually has a great action, and it's real rigid. But yeah, I skipped one under a laydown. I don't know, a couple weeks back, and probably should have went straight braid in that situation.
He asked what was going on. I said, dude, you can go straight braid if you need, and because he got worked on, what was it, 8-pound test? I think he said you had.
Yeah, I had braid to 8-pound leader, and no chance.
Who are you, Uncle Don, with this 8-pound leader?
Man, I don't know. I like to even the playing field,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I tell you, you mentioned it skipping. If you ever want to learn how to skip a bait, put a stick bait on a hook like you have an EWG or round bend, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn how to skip, that's the best bait in the world to learn how to skip.
It is. Those things they 48, Senko, whatever, man, they'll skip like a rocket.
Yep.
They're good. And then one of my other faves is the old Carolina rig. As you can see, whoa, there she is, trailing behind. A number of years ago when the Senko came out, we all kind of figured out, hey, man, we got this weighted stick bait. Okay, really cool. How would you use it? Okay, weighted stick bait, wacky rig, Texas rig. You watch it shimmy. Okay, got it. So then we're down at, you might even be fit. It might have been fishing this tournament, Pete. I can't remember. When we were on the Harris chain a gazillion years ago, and it was that one that Jim Bitter, I think, was leading after the first couple of days.
Yep.
And I caught the second day of that tournament, I caught an 11-pounder. And I mean, this fish, I mean, it could eat anything else I've ever caught in my life, you know? And so I'm so pumped about this fish. I had this 11 pounder, huge, and I got beat by Art Ferguson that caught an 11-1. And so I was like, oh man, that's just bad luck, you know, whatever. I made the top 12. I made the last day, or maybe it was the third day. I made the last day or whatever. And I was all pumped about that. So then I'm reading the article in the Bassmaster magazine after that, and I see, Art Ferguson. And then it says the lure that he caught it on. He said, Carolina rigged Cinco. Dude, I got so mad because I was like, you're not supposed to Carolina rig a Cinco. Like, you're just not supposed to do that. Yep. And I got so mad about that. And so I have paid close attention to Carolina rigging a weighted stick bait. And damn if they don't catch fish. I mean, why would a bait, I mean, you know, the bait's weighted, so it has to be literally dragging on the bottom behind the weight, but man, they eat it. I don't know. It's, you know, it's like the reverse of floating up, you know, it stays almost glued to the bottom, but man, they find it and they'll come and eat it. So,
well, I'll tell you, you know, you say that and we're going to get another IM question to you, but I use that Carolina rig Senko. I use it a lot for smallmouth.
Yeah.
I had one of my biggest bags of smallmouth between a crankbait, a wigglewort, and a Carolina rig Senko. Mm-hmm. Those two tools put the biggest bag I've ever had of smallmouth in the boat.
How much did that weigh?
It was 24 or something, you know.
Sick. Yeah, sick bag.
Yeah, it was good. My partner had 20 pounds that day too. So between the two of us, for 3 hours, we caught smallmouth straight. I know it's just Lake Erie can be amazing sometimes.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it was probably the greatest one day I've ever had. But Riz, we got some more IMs coming in. What do you got? We got no volume. I think you might be muted, my friend.
We do. Jay Hen wants to know, Johnny, when you're throwing the Carolina rig with your Missile 48 or stick bait, what do you prefer, a brass, a tungsten, or a lead weight for your C rig?
I'm a lead guy on the C rig. I think tungsten definitely has its place. If I'm going to be using tungsten, you can use tungsten. You can use 2 tungstens, and you can get that loud clacking sound together. And what I found is if you use 1 tungsten, like if you used 1 3/4 or 1 ounce tungsten weight, there's so much density in that lead, it's going to like fall down and you get hung up a lot. And that's why I quit using tungsten until I switched off to putting 2, like 2/4 ounces or 2 3/8 ounce sinkers together. You can put 2 3/8 ounce sinkers and get that thing through anything because it dissipates the weight. Those weights will separate and they don't get hung up as near as bad. And then you also get that sound. So if you go tungsten, use the 2 small, 2 same sizes to add on, and you get that sound version. But day in and day out, I really like the lead with the clacker, just like that right there. I've got the lead and then the clacker and then the bead to protect the knot. And that's exactly and that thing will come through most anything.
You put a lot of decoration on that Carolina rig, man.
Yeah, man. I want it to dance. I want to play music when it's down there.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I got one more from Randy Caudill, and this one's a little bit more generic, but I think it's a good question because a lot of parts of the country are dealing with this right now. What's your favorite rig for post-spawn fishing when you're fishing a Missile 48?
Yeah, post-spawn. I would definitely go wacky probably first. Wacky, if you have more open water. If you've got any kind of cover, and that's grass, docks, sticks, laydowns, then I'd go reverse shimmy rig with the 48, and I'd throw that on a bait caster with say 14-pound test, and then with the wacky rig, I'd probably go like straight braid, probably 12-pound, 15. You can get away with 15, that's no problem. But that's kind of like the 1-2 punch there.
Bait caster, I gotta jump in here. Where do you draw that line when you're fishing a stick bait? Like, how much weight do you need to be fishing on that to go to the bait caster rather than the spinning rod? Because Pete can attest to this. I fought the Senko for quite some time. I wouldn't, or the Senko, the stick bait, the 48, whatever. It didn't matter whose name was
The
on
category,
it. Eventually I came to peace with it. But how I did that was through finding a setup to be able to throw it on a casting setup. But for me, I had to have a heavier weight to still feel comfortable. What do you personally, John, where do you draw that line to where you can bait cast it or spin and rod it? And what plays into that?
It kind of depends on where I'm fishing it. If I'm target fishing, I target fish with that reverse shimmy rig, and that's why I throw it on a bait caster. But like I'm going to be pitching it to a piece of cover, to certain things to where I want the bait to hit and land softly exactly where I want it. If I'm going to be covering water and making longer cast, or I'm going to be skipping it, I'll go with the spinning rod.
If you're on, like I said, you can go. If you're on the bait caster and you're reverse weighting it, how much weight are you putting in there?
1/32 is that's the one.
Okay.
Jeez.
That question came from Riz B Fishing.
What did he win?
He won the knowledge. That's what he won.
Spot on the show.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, that's I've gotten to where I use that spinning rod a lot, and especially with long casts.
Yeah.
And what I do is on that reverse shimmy rig, what I like about it so much is that it'll find its way through the grass on a long cast.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in real shallow water and you pop it through grass, if it's weightless, the line will hang it up in the grass, and it won't find its way back down. But just that little bit of weight, it'll help that bait on a slack line find its way down through where the fish are. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that weightless versus slightly tail weighted, I mean, it'll catch them times 10, in certain situations.
Certain times, yeah. It's like I imagine you see it a bunch in those couple places. I know you fish a lot, Pete.
Yeah. We fish a lot this time of year. I mean, this is the time of year for it,
Right.
I mean, it's the spawn, post spawn, it's the deal.
And it works all summer. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's fish shallow, it works all summer.
Yep. For sure. Well, you were where were you? What you had us on the weighted Texas rig hook.
Yeah, we went through through Carolina rig. The stand up shaky head is another way that's good. Or I've even caught some using the swing head, the biffle head, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That is I've caught some on that, doing that as well. It's just a different presentation because it's something long and skinny versus something that's short and squatty. Just it's a different profile to be thrown on a swing head. I've caught some on it. Good little change up on ledges and deeper spots, stuff like that.
I don't know if you knew this or not. You probably did, but remember when McClellan had his couple big tournaments in a row, one with a football head.
Yep.
Jig, and it was like football head craze was on after he had done that.
Yeah.
And he told us at Bass U, and he gives a seminar on Bass U. You guys got to go check it out. You can see. But his trailer was a stick bait. That was his big secret. Was he wasn't using a crawl trailer. He was putting a stick bait on there and winning those tournaments.
Wow. Yeah. He beat me in one of those. I finished, I don't know, third or fourth or somewhere in there. And I think it was fourth, and then he won that one on Clark's Hill.
Right. Yep. So stick bait is more versatile, or is more versatile than people give it credit for. Obviously, there's 48 ways to rig it. But one of the surprising ways that I saw, because I was watching, I was pirating your YouTube videos,
right?
And I watched one of the guys putting them on an Alabama rig. That was crazy. Five little mini
nubs.
Yeah, on an Alabama rig, and he caught him with that.
Yeah, it's just that profile, coming through the water, and man, they ate it. It just looked like five somethings swimming in a line, I guess. But yeah, Shea Baker is the one that did that, and he's actually just texted me a second ago. But he said he caught like half a dozen. He's like, here, you can use any of these. He's like, he just did it, and he's like, here, you just have him. Here you go.
That's awesome. Of course, he makes a great Alabama rig.
Yeah, there you go. He knows a place to throw it because he's in Alabama.
Yep. What is the most unusual rigging that you've seen it used for to actually catch fish?
Well, when we were getting towards the end of the 48 waves, we're at stretching, making sure we got all 48. And I found in some of my old tackle, as we were about halfway through this stuff, I found an old acre shaker, and I don't know where they went to. I couldn't find them. And I ended up catching a pig on that acre shaker.
Yeah.
And it was, it's just almost like a chatterbait blade you put in front of the hook. And it you pull on it, it vibrates. And it was just kind of a crazy deal.
Yeah. I saw that catch, man. That was great. It was a giant fish. Looked like a 6-pounder.
Yeah, it was like a 6-pounder. Had a great big old head on it.
Yeah, it sure did. Well, where are we at? Had we hit 10 with you yet?
I think, let's see, Ned rig. I didn't bring a Ned rig, but you can just cut the bait directly in half, and then you can Ned rig it. You have 2 Ned rig baits there, and they work just fine. And then the other is the chicken rig. I know Ike Anelli's a big fan of the chicken rig. You actually Texas rig it in the middle of the worm, and you put a nail weight in the bottom, and it's almost like a Necco weight, but weedless, so to speak.
Right.
And that's kind of a different little way to catch it. I caught a couple on it when we were doing the 48 ways, and I don't even remember if we did a video on it, but I did catch some on that at this pond when we were doing that. Looking at my other ones. Oh, a Mojo rig, split shot or Mojo rig. Yeah. That is a really good way to use one.
Yeah, and that's just like a mini lightweight, Carolina rig scenario.
Right. Yeah. You got that. You just have that slow, it'll nose it down, and it, falls a little bit slower, and it'll get it, that weight or the Mojo or the split shot, whatever, will just kind of get hung up on the bottom or just kind of get hung up on tops of the grass. A lot of times that bait will kind of suspend above it and then slowly come down. And then as you pull it over the next piece and come down, that bait will go up, and then it'll kind of, slowly settle back down. So you get that slow settle back down. I think that's an interesting deal. I've seen it wax people in the back of the boat before.
Yeah.
John, what are you using for that? Are you using 2 like bobber stops to keep your weight slightly above it, or are you actually using a small swivel, or what's your deal there?
I usually just put 2 bobber stops below it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Below it. Yep.
Not above and below, but just below it, and keep it from moving. I mean, it's almost the same as like the PD rig. Pete Tilaveris, does a Peter T. Yeah. That PD rig that he does with the fluke on there. Yeah. But with the four, it's really kind of the split shot, and to me is a lot of the same effect.
Right.
Yep. You guys, that's available on Bass U TV. Pete talks about the PD rig, and it's a really effective tool. It's funny how Peter T is one of the guys like myself that keeps throwing that Carolina rig, and you're doing it too. And
yeah, man, I love it.
So many people fired it and they're hating on it, and it's a killer, man.
It is, man. When those fish first get out deep, it is a great way to find those little sweet spots and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You got IMs, Riz?
I do. I got an IM about the Necco rig. Damon wants to know, John, what's your ideal hook size and brand for a Necco rig with the 48?
I would put it depends on the size weight. If I'm going to go with the lighter weight, like a 1/32 ounce weight, I'm going to use the Gamakatsu G Finesse, the drop shot version, and I'll go with the 1/0, and I'll just stab it right in the middle, just like that, and I'll put that weight in the big end. And the reason I use that one is because you're not going to be having it on the bottom and laying down on the bottom a whole lot, so it's not going to get hung up a ton. If I'm going to be going up in weight at all, fishing it deeper or around brush, I might put a 1/8 or a 3/16 even to fish real deep. I'm going to go to one with a weed guard. I like that Gamakatsu G Finesse with the stinger hook that's got the weed guard on it, and I'm going to hook it right in the middle, right in that same location. So whatever hook that you do use, put a weed guard. Get the one with the weed guard for Necco rigging with any weight above 1/32 ounce.
What kind are we talking about a lot of different rod choices here? We talked about a lot of different techniques. I imagine there's a few different rods that you use for these rigs.
I mean, the Cashin, all the spinning stuff is probably covered with a Cashin micro jig rod. I mean, that to me, it's sturdy enough that you can get the hook into them. Even if you're using, straight braid, straight 15, or you make a long cast and you get some wood to them, it's still got enough ass on it to do that. And you can still skip it, short enough. You can still skip it real easy. If I'm going to be doing the reverse shimmy or something that requires a bait caster, that 7 foot, except for the Carolina rig, I'll go to 7.3, but the 7 foot heavy action, the Elite, just the regular Elite series, that's the one I really like for that reverse shimmy, that 7 footer. It's just that balance is perfect for that rig. You can really cast it real accurately and just slide it right into places. That's the deal.
Well, you got an amazing lineup over at Cashin. Anything new over there? What's happening over there? I know we got ICAST coming up.
Yeah, I tell you,
virtual.
I don't think I'm supposed to. What?
I said RIP ICAST. It's virtual ICAST. It's not not ICAST.
Well, everybody's still got a lot of new products coming around this time frame, and there's something pretty substantial coming from Cashin. They've got a really cool, let's just say, it's some pretty amazing technology that they're bringing out. So you are going to want to keep an eye on it and put one of them in your hands at some point. I'll just leave it at that. Get a little buzz. That's where it is.
Outstanding. Maybe it's the Peak Lose X Signature Series this year.
Yes.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Of course, you're keeping us all in suspense, but we are going to be participating in virtual ICAST in some capacity here with Bash U. So we'll let you guys know what we're doing. And we're going to be working with the guys at Tackle Warehouse. They're going to be coming up here in just a little bit. And I see Riz is hot. He's got a hot question he wants to ask. Go ahead, Riz. What do you got?
I got a hot question from Chad Beasley. And thanks for asking for this question, Chad, because it really is a good question. What is your ideal weather conditions, Johnny, when you're throwing the reverse shimmy?
I don't want too much wind. Because it's a cover deal. I'm throwing directly 2 pieces of cover with it usually. So I'll take a little bit of sun, not a lot of wind, and I'll go to town with that thing. I'll tell you one story where I was using it and it really came in handy is we were up at Champlain and I was in this little creek and it had undercut banks and I was catching largemouth and I was just pitching a Texas rig D-bomb to the edge. And I said, man, I told the guy that was with me, I said, man, I feel like those undercut banks I feel like the fish are up under there. And I was like, oh, I know how I can get to them. So I stopped what I was doing. And I actually had to tie on the reverse shimmy rig. 3rd cast, I catch the biggest fish that I weighed that day. And then I ended up catching 3 or 4 of the ones that I weighed that day on that reverse shimmy rig. I'd fished for 2 hours and then I tied that on and then I was actually getting that bait 2 fish that didn't see the D-bomb because the D-bomb was falling straight and that thing would kind of sail up under that undercut and I was getting to them. It was really cool.
That's awesome. And I agree. I've had that same experience with that bait. And to add to that question, because I fish down on Chesapeake all the time and I fish through May spawn season. And it's like when that happens, that rig outperforms every other rig, well, not every day, but a lot of the days.
Right.
And sometimes the weather can be miserable, it can be windy, cloudy, and you think, oh man, it's a chatterbait day, it's a spinnerbait day, but they're spawning and that's how you catch a spawning fish. So you battle 20 mile an hour winds and that's one thing that tail weight really helps you with. Because it'll help you get down in the wind and get those fish. So that's helped me quite a bit. Riz, what do you got? I thought you had your hand up.
I do. I always got questions ready to go here, Pete, because our subscribers are awesome and they're engaged in the show, and we appreciate that. Anthony Darren wants to know, what's your go-to rig when you're fishing the Missile 48 on deep brush piles?
I'm going to go with probably with the light Texas rig. You can get that thing in there and it'll just kind of sit up on top of those little limbs, towards the top of the brush pile. So something like a 3/16 ounce weight, that thing will actually get down pretty quick. That would definitely be what I'd be throwing.
Awesome. Well, I tell you, I want to add a couple of mine, and I know we got Ken Duke coming on with trivia question, and a lot of other fun stuff coming up. If you guys are watching over on Facebook, like and share. We got a contest for you. If you're not subscribed to Bass University TV and you want to come over and participate in the show and win some of these prizes, go over to bassu.tv and get yourself subscribed. It's 50 days free, and we have a top water special going on right now with a couple great Berkeley top water baits that we're giving away. But one of I wanted to add to my top 10 that I'm surprised you didn't add to your top 10, which is the Flick Shake.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a bridge piling killer right there. It
is, right? And I remember Mike was using a Flick Shake up at Thousand Islands one year, 100 years ago, and did real good with it. And I've on the Chesapeake, I caught a bass, and I never weighed it in, but it's the biggest bass I've ever caught on the Chesapeake, and I think it was 10 pounds.
Wow.
It was close. If it wasn't, it was 9, or maybe 11. It was heads and shoulders. It was the biggest fish I've ever caught here, and I didn't have a scale. I caught it on Flick Shake with 6-pound test on a cold April day.
Wow.
And I couldn't catch anything that day, but I caught that giant, and it was amazing. But here's one thing that
Pete, did you even get a picture of it?
I do. I have a picture of it. Yep.
All right.
I can find a
Can
picture.
we get that? Can I get that content, please?
Yes.
That's what I need, Pete.
Yeah, that's well, I tell you what, it happened maybe 8 years ago or 6 years ago. It was a while ago, So
Pretty sure we had cameras back in.
Yeah, I bet you can find it on my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll try to find it.
Yeah. All right.
But this is a different style flick. Like a lot of Flick Shake heads are not real sturdy. They're finesse oriented, like I used when I caught that fish. But this is a flipping whacker head, which is kind of unique, and it's got a stouter hook. And I was down at Tellico Loudon in a tournament. They were spawning all over these pine trees laying in the water, and I could only get them by flicking, throwing a wacky rig in there. I could get them to bite it, but the problem was if they didn't bite it, I was hung up in the tree, and I had to go get it like every time. It was impossible. But I found that this was a tremendous tool. To be able to get in and out of the heavy habitat. And it had big enough hook that I could use a bait caster with it and, get those fish up and out in that heavy cover.
You can wrench on them.
Yeah, so that's a unique one that I use. And the only other one that I and you already said the Texas rig, but I brought, here it is right here. A lot of times, like when I won at Cayuga and when I won at the Hudson River, I was using 3/4 ounce weights. Oh, sorry. It's public.
I didn't hear that.
It's all public now.
I've read every word of the article of that. Yes, I know.
But that was sorry.
Wait, this is public information. We're on public. We're in public. Okay.
We're public. That's all right. I didn't ask. There you go. But this one, I peg it just like you do, but the super heavy weight makes it fall so fast through the cover and really helped me. So, using those super heavy weights on that darn stick bait is a killer. So they'd be the other two that I would add to my top 10. But your top 10 is an amazing group of presentations to throw that bait. And
nice.
We got so many. We're gonna have Ken Duke come on here. Are we gonna take a break before Ken comes on, Brian?
No, sir.
Okay.
Why would you like to?
No, I'm cool to hang on. I just want to try to stay on schedule a little bit. I know a lot of guys are hanging in with us tonight, and Ken's in the queue. But I'm
ready when you are.
Let me ask you a question, John.
Yes.
When do you put the stick bait in your rod locker and say it's not stick bait season?
It really depends on the body of water you're fishing, because I think on tidal fisheries it's stick bait season all summer. It can play. basically all summer. But for the big lakes and so forth, I think it's somewhere in mid to late June. It starts to be less of an effective technique on the bigger lakes.
Right. Except for maybe down at Eufaula right now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if I put this in my hand, I would catch plenty of fish. I don't know if it'd be the winning bag, but I'd catch plenty of fish.
Yep. Sometimes in the cold weather season, the real cold stuff, maybe I don't take it out, but I know guys catch them with it then too, but I tend to move towards a jig at that season. But, it's one of those deals. You got to have it on the deck of your boat.
Yeah. I mean, I think, April, May, June, that's the peak for any weighted stick bait.
I gotta, and Brian, I'm going to fold you into this one because it's important.
All right.
There are haters, stick bait haters in the world. John, we got one of them in our studio right there. And did you have any? I mean, Brian, let's go to Brian and right away. Why in the world? Why would you hate something that catches fish so well?
I don't know. It's just it kind of dumbed it down. It made it too easy for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, everybody can catch them now. What the hell's the difference?
Yep. Drop shot kind of did that to me too.
Yeah. It's just like, do you really want to catch them on a Senko today?
Or you want to just fish?
Yeah. Sometimes, it's just, I'd rather if I'm just throw a jig and not catch nothing or something. I don't know.
I don't understand that thinking, John, man. I'm like, I don't care.
I put him in the boat.
Listen, I fish a Senko more than Rich, so I just like to talk. I said I would probably fish a Senko more than Rich. I'm just talking trash. Except for the other day, Rich. Relax. You had one day where you caught him fishing behind Mike.
I learned it.
Huh?
Yep.
It's never not going to be in my boat anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah, after you fish behind Mike and realize, holy shit, I got to throw this. I get it. Yeah. I get it.
I'll tell you this, Mike. I'll tell you this.
I put the Senko on first, but we won't go into that.
I roomed with Ike for 12, 14 years or something. And Uncle Don used to practice fish with him for, I don't know, it was over 10 years. He practiced fish with him every event. Until the elite stuff kicked off and he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I think he did for the first couple of years while they had co-English. But anyway, it'd be every practice. Uncle Don every time he would catch the biggest fish.
Yeah.
And 95% of the time that he was fishing, he was throwing a 5-inch Senko on 10-pound leader on a spinning rod. And that's all he threw, all practice. He would just fire it off the side of the boat. Yeah. Wherever, just pitch it around and zing it around.
John,
every practice he would catch the biggest fish that Mike would catch, or they would catch in practice.
You're making my point, John. You're making my point.
Every time.
So you need to be challenged.
It made everything else irrelevant.
Mike would catch 50-1, Uncle Don. But Uncle, for some reason, he would always catch. And then in a lot of times in the tournament, Mike would never throw that bait rig like that in practice, but he would throw it in the tournament and he would catch fish on it.
Yeah. It's too good. It's too steady. I mean, but the things that we've all learned about it and we're learning about it now with you is that it's not just throwing it out there wacky with 10-pound test. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can make this thing get out there and get fish for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that reverse shimmy rig is tight. And like I said, having it, make sure that when you rig it, the whole thing is straight, because that way it will shimmy and go straight backwards. If that tail has a crook in it, it's gonna kind of spiral. And I don't think you catch near as many fish when it's rigged like that. So just make sure it's straight. That's the big deal.
You hear that, Pete?
I hear that.
All right.
I subscribe to that opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's good. Obviously it's a great rig. I throw it a lot. We throw it a lot down the flats and everywhere I go. And I mix it in. I can't tell you how many times. Well, I've gone back and I was thinking about this leading into the show. Is I won 4 tournaments. 3 of them a portion of the fish have come with a stick bait tied to them somehow. You know, on Cayuga and Hudson, I was using heavy weighted stick baits, and on Champlain, I was using a shaky headed stick bait. So three of those times put me in the winner circle, and
wow.
Yeah, I learned that when I'm throwing it, you know, I'm often like I'm being Uncle Don. You know what I mean? I'm
gonna fire it out there, just watch it.
I'm going to get a shot at that big fish. I'm going to get a shot at him that I might not get if I'm not throwing it.
Pete, what was your shaky head stick bait rig?
It was I got them right here. It was a screw lock. And this is, you know, just a screw jig head. And I was using 3/16 and 1/4 ounce. But the whole deal with this is, and why I like to rig it, a stick bait, any type of jig head, is that it really glides. It falls erratically when it falls, and that's
pushes the head down.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It pushes the head down, and you would think that with the weight up there, it would just go straight down. But when you're in deeper water, like 5 feet or more, when it starts to fall, it develops momentum and it'll start to shoot. It'll dart from side to side.
Because that tail will kind of wag it. I think is what happens. It makes it wag because it's got weight on it. And it kind of pushes it around and it ends up darting around.
Don't stop, like Johnny. Keep going with
it. That's it.
There it is.
Queen's wave all the way down.
Get that wave going.
Yeah, needed a soundtrack. A little hip hop behind you. But that darting action is what gets them, man. I think helps me get bites, is that erratic fall. So and there's it's just a powerful tool. I wonder how many pro tournaments that's been a factor in. I know, gosh, there's just so many of them, unless you're Jason Christie, which just throws 1 ounce spinnerbait.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you do, Pete. You know how much that Charlie Hartley still fishes. He fishes every day. One of the machines at Yamamoto is actually dedicated to running 365 days a year just to make enough Cincos for Charlie. And they actually have a rattle trap machine the same way. One production line in the rattle traps. So that's all because that's all he fishes in a tiny torpedo.
Yeah, I think the Pradco factory has for Alton Jones, they have a Yum Dinger machine running 24/7.
Used to. Yeah.
Used to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that not a relationship anymore? Did I step on something?
No. Yeah. I mean, I hate it for Alton and Little Alton and a couple other guys but Pradco had to cut back on some of their pro staff with some of this COVID stuff and whatever. But yeah, I mean, to me, Alton Jones is synonymous with the Yum brand. I can't believe that they would get rid of they had to whatever. But but I'm with you, dude. He's synonymous with that Yum Dinger, dude. That and a little tube. He'll catch fish anywhere with that Yum Dinger and that little tube. And I know this because I have passed him close quarters fishing, and he'll literally have 2 rods on the deck, one with the dinger and the other with that tube, and that is it. I'm talking like all fishing day.
Wow,
it's crazy.
Crazy.
That is nuts. And I'm sorry to hear that news. I know it's going around the industry, and a lot of companies out there are forced to make some really tough decisions.
Yeah, no doubt. I think a lot of people, both tours, whatever, have had some pinches because of everything, especially in the boat side.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's industry news, and there's a lot going on in the business right now. Riz, are you looking at me like you have a question to ask?
I do. Yeah,
I can see it in your eyes. What do you have?
Yeah, we got a question from Jordan Yates and Wild Bill. Actually, asked almost the same question, but it's virtually the same. Do you clip off some of that screw when you shaky head rig your soft stick baits?
That's a secret I can't divulge. But
maybe I do.
You have
maybe I don't.
It's actually that's a good point, and some of the screws are too skinny, some of them are too big, and what I will do is I will cut that screw in half when I'm in a tournament situation. When I'm practicing, I leave it on there because it holds the bait and you can fish all day with it. But when I'm in a tournament situation, I cut that screw down in half because I want when I set the hook, I want the head of the worm to come off. Because
you're just like half screwed.
Yep. I want it half screwed so I can get full penetration.
Woo.
That's
Cut that clip.
Enough said. But hey, guys, I appreciate the questions, man. Keep them coming. And we're going to take a quick, we're not going to take a break. We're going to bring in Ken. Let's go ahead and bring him in whenever you're ready. And we're going to dive in a little deeper. And I know you know Ken Duke, John. He's the keeper of the scrolls, the marijuana smoking.
Wait a minute.
We are off the rails.
Florida, not Colorado.
No,
that is not
Don't wear the Tommy Bahama shirt. That's not a
leaf.
That's not a marijuana leaf on his shirt. That's just a Tommy Bahama palm leaf. That's all that is.
That's
Exactly.
That is not true, people. I was just referring to some jokes people were making on the last IM board when Ken was on. And
it's amazing. Yeah, you come on the show, you come on Bass You Live, and people just naturally assume you've got to be high or buzzed somehow.
Yeah. How could you possibly be carrying around that much information in your head and not be smoking?
Well, there's that. You got me there, man. You got me there. But it's awesome to be on with my friend John Cruz. I'm not just a fan, but I'm not just a fan of John as an angler. I'm a fan of John as a professional in the industry. This guy is a spectacular success in our business. He's one of the smartest pro anglers that I've ever known, and I've certainly known a few. I've gotten to know John a lot better in the last few years after he became more involved in the American Sport Fishing Association, coming to the ASA Summit. John serves on the trade show committee with me, and he's a big deal in our industry, you know.
Ken is very gracious, and he has given me some fantastic advice over the years, and I very much appreciate that. So I want to dive into that big brain of yours, Ken. Come on, let's hit him with the questions. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. You know, if we want to give away some prizes here, I've got a few in mind. And since we've been talking about stick worms, and since John makes a fabulous stick worm, but Gary Yamamoto is really the guy who started it all. So let's start with Gary Yamamoto. What business was Gary Yamamoto in before he started Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits? Let's see how well people know their Gary Yamamoto trivia.
Just for me?
Not for you. This is for the audience here, for a prize. But you probably know. I think John Cruz knows everything. John Cruz moves in all the right circles. He's not like me. See, people will bar me at the door. They let John right through.
I think I know the answer to this question, but I can't remember if he was in this business before or after. I don't know, but I think I have a guess at the answer, but I'm not.
Dave Hall said cattle, and that's not correct.
Not correct. Yeah,
that was my guess.
Gary has that.
Not then.
Yeah, he's got the Kobe beef thing. I think he's either sold out of that or the process maybe of getting out of that. I'm not really 100% sure either way. But it's possibly still in this business, but he was in this business before in Page, Arizona. And he certainly continued to run this business even after he had Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits going. And I think, and John, I haven't been out there, but I think that they're basically almost across the street from each other. Is that right?
I'm not sure about that. I haven't been out there.
Yeah, they're both in Page, Arizona, which is a small town. And of course, Gary, a lot of people don't know this. Gary's actually from Hawaii. He's Japanese American, but he's not Japanese. And so that's my trivia question for the audience out there. I got a killer one.
You got a winner,
John. I got a killer one for the panel. This one's for Riz. This is for Brian, but it looks like Riz says we have a winner.
We do. We got a winner. We can't keep our folks down for long.
Unbelievable.
Mike O is the winner. And the correct answer.
Oh, wait, should we see if John Cruz knows the answer?
Yeah, I want to see if John knows.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Let's see.
You know the answer to this question, John?
Campground.
Ding, 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 ding.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That is
Very
it.
good.
Mike O wins a prize, and also NJ Dale Jr. thought that Gary Yamamoto's past job may have been NASCAR driver.
That dude sounds like a good follow on social media. That's all I can say.
I'm pretty sure that's a swing and a miss on NASCAR, but absolutely right. He ran a campground in Page, Arizona. I think he owned it for quite a while, even after he had Gary Yamamoto custom baits going. By the way, with all due respect to Missile, I think Yamamoto has the best URL of any tackle website in the industry.
Yeah.
It's baits.com.
Yes.
How about that?
That's it.
That's getting it on the ground floor, isn't it? That's realizing, hey, this internet thing might go somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That was
Russ Bastoser, he ran that campground for him for a long time, and he fished with me at a writers conference a couple times, I think, and then oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on there was another guy that kind of I think started to run it after him. Really big guy. He fished with me one time in a tournament, I think.
Also Russ.
Does he still operate the campground now, Ken, or do you know?
I'm not sure. I wish I knew that answer, Pete. I'm just not sure. Gary spends a ton of his time now, of course, on his Texas ranch. He's also got a place down in Venice, Louisiana, where he loves the inshore fishing down there. He spends as much time with a rod and reel in his hands as possible.
Right. Well, I know. I just would figure that it's probably still operational because campgrounds are booked solid, and Gary always seems to do the right thing. So I'm sure his campground is turning profits, and I want to wish Gary well, enjoying his time in Venice on me for all the Senkos that I purchased from him over the years. And
Do you think his Senkos are like $10 a bag at the campground store? Because you're stuck buying them there.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one quick funny story about the Yamamoto Senko. They produce them right there in Page, Arizona at the plant. And they have, word is that they have one machine that produces green pumpkin 5-inch Senkos 365 days a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have other obviously a bunch of other machines, but the one machine, that's all it makes all year, every day.
Amazing, isn't it? And now do you guys know the story of green pumpkin? You talked a lot about green pumpkin when you were going through everybody's favorite color, and John, I think, gave the answer that so many anglers do. He said, well, I hate to admit it, but it's probably green pumpkin. Do you guys know the story of how green pumpkin was created?
This is good. I want to hear it. I think we all do.
Well, it's a creation of the Zoom Bait Company. There was no green pumpkin until Ed Chambers, the late great Ed Chambers, and the folks at Zoom came up with it by accident. This would have been back in the mid '80s sometime, and John can tell you a lot more about this than I would ever know. But when you run an injection mold and you're running a certain color through your system, and you have to clear the system to start the next pour, there is a generation that comes through the machine that's kind of a mix of the two. So if you've just been running black and then you're going to run pearl, you're going to get a nasty looking gray in between some, or at least on the machines of that era. So one day at Zoom, they were running trick worms or something, and they were running them in pumpkin. And the next batch was going to be watermelon. And when that in-between generation came out and they looked at it, it's what we now know as green pumpkin. A lot of the guys at Zoom even then fished, and they said, this is a pretty good looking color. We're not going to just throw it in the bin and then turn it into black worms later. Let's take this fishing. And of course they whacked them on that color. And now, John, I'd be curious about Missile, but my understanding from talking to a lot of people in the soft plastics business in this bass industry is that green pumpkin makes up something like 65-70% of the market. And at Zoom, it's perhaps even higher than that.
Yeah, it's not that high for us. The green pumpkin is the #1 seller in the Ned Bomb and the 48. And I think in the smaller quiver, the 4.5 quiver, it's #1. But in the bigger quiver, it's either green pumpkin or that plutonium green pumpkin core, which is kind of in the name. But then with the D-Bomb, it's more of a flipping color. It goes back and forth. between a couple colors. But I think we may get to that later in the show.
That's right.
I didn't go there, Brian. I could see you getting nervous. You're like, whoa. Oh, okay.
We're dancing on our next guest's toes right now, folks.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Well, I got a question for Pete and John here, because I have never understood why guys who are punching and fishing really, really heavy cover use anything other than black. Because in that kind of cover and with that little light penetration, wouldn't you just want to go with what's going to give you the best possible silhouette?
A lot of it, for me, it depends on the watercolor and the sun. If you get sun or no sun, if you don't have any sun, I think that like Bruiser Flash, something with some flake in it that gives it a little bit of sparkle is big. But when the sun is, I like something that's a little more black opaque, either straight black or a straight Bruiser.
Pete, I made a mistake of asking that question to a guy who manufactures 50 different colors. He's not going to say black in those baits. My mistake. My bad on that one.
Easy.
How about you, Pete?
Yeah, black is certainly a huge, color. I like to use it a lot, even in crystal clear water. That black, that absence of color is huge.
Black swim jig.
Yeah, it just catches them. And I mix it up, and fish can think, they can move so fast and they react so fast. A lot of times I do like to add flake to, in sunny situations. I think that, that instant, it can help trigger. I'll put blue flake in, I'll experiment with the more natural green pumpkin color sometimes, but yeah, I definitely, black is certainly probably my fall to color, for sure. But with respect to green pumpkin, let me ask you, do you know when this came around? And Ken knows all, and I didn't give you a proper introduction, Ken. You're former editor for Bassmaster magazine, current editor for Tackle Retailer magazine.
Fishing Tackle Retailer, yeah.
Fishing Tackle Retailer, my apologies. But and has more information than anybody in the sport, and we're awful proud to have you on our show, and I appreciate you being with us. And but the green pumpkin, I got first introduced to it on Thousand Islands in 1996. Was the first time I saw that color, because I was still using blacks and blues, and watermelons or motor oil was the big color back then. And a guy from Georgia came in with some Zoom green pumpkin finesse worms and absolutely lit it up. And do you know when that color came out?
It was mid to late 80s, Pete. So I know it, of course, as you know, it usually takes about 10 years for stuff to get to New Jersey. So kidding. But no, it was mid to late 80s.
Except for coronavirus. That
there you go.
First,
and I was lucky because I went to school at the University of Georgia in Athens, which is right next door to the town that Zoom is located in Bogart, Georgia. And so I used to go in the local tackle shops when I was in school, and there would be this tiny little narrow run of Zoom baits. And they would always have soft plastics, but sometimes they would have a spinner bait or a buzz bait or even a crankbait. And they eventually discontinued pretty much everything except the soft plastics. But I got to see Zoom become this industry giant. They're the number one seller of soft plastics in the U.S. And so maybe a lot of these colors, maybe a lot of these body types came to that part of Georgia before they ever got some sort of expanded delivery.
Right. Well, it's been, since then I've caught 1 million on it, and everybody has, and it continues to dominate everybody's catch.
Well, I'd love to get your take and John's take on this, but my attitude, especially when I lived in Georgia, now that I'm living in Florida, it's not quite as prevalent. Mm-hmm. But I have this attitude now. I use a lot more June bug, a lot more black and blue. But when I lived in Georgia, my attitude was, if they're not hitting green pumpkin, I don't need to change color. I need to change location.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a color has ever been that favored by either of you guys. I'll tackle this one, John. You can take it next, but I'm like that generally speaking. I try to keep it simple in my color choices, and
in all things. And I find that, I find that exact thing, that if I'm not getting them, I don't often, think it's the color. I move. I think I'm not in the right area, not doing the right thing. When I experiment mostly with color is when I'm on them. And that's when I really, if I've got a group of fish and I know they're there and I can tinker with flecks and different colors or different types of things, and I can try to dial in what the best thing is to do. But
John, do you do a lot of that if you find out maybe they're not taking the bait as well as you think they are to, or you want them to? Is that when you change color? Do you change color first, or do you change size first?
Well, I tell you, there's I did a seminar for Bass U that talked about what makes a bass bite. And number one, far and away, in my opinion, is action, or lack thereof. There's lack of action. Straight worm, Texas rig. There's not, it's not doing a whole lot. So there's action is number one. Number two is size. And size, little bitty, medium, large, extra large, whatever, however you want to go. That's a big deal that makes them bite or not bite. And I think color is after those two.
John, do you put fall rate in with action?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we learned is action fall rate is your number one indicator, and if they're not hitting a dead stick black Senko, Pete's going home.
Well, he's going to rig it differently. So he's got about 48 different ways.
48 different ways to dead stick a stick bait by Pete Clues.
In a 48, if he's got 48s in the boat, he's got 48 ways he can go through them. It'll take him a while.
Yeah, and then you've helped me. You've added quite a few to my arsenal, John. I appreciate that.
Brian the Carpenter is leading me perfectly down the path here, because he told me that I was in charge of this week's Bass U battle question.
Oh no, that's right.
And Pete, can I be the chair of the Bass U history department or something, so I can have a title?
Yes, the Duke.
Is that the title?
Well, I don't know. I'll take whatever I can get. Bobo the Idiot Boy works for me. The title I want is Master of Time, Space, and Dimension, but I don't think anybody's going to give me that.
I will give you that.
We have given you Keeper of the Scrolls, but we can give you the chair title too.
That makes me sound, Keeper of the Scrolls makes me sound even older than I am. That's hard. All right.
Oh, weird.
This one is for Pete and John, and here it is. And it's kind of coming from my own personal experience. So I'm going to get some great insight. And oddly, there can only be one winner, gentlemen. So one of you, sadly, will go home probably crying. But here it is. You're in Florida. It's post-spawn. You're working a line of bulrushes, cattails, heavy, dense reeds that present basically a wall that the bass are feeding up against, okay? And the fish are feeding there because you can see some swirls. You see the reeds shaking occasionally as the bigger fish bump into them and chase bait and forage into them. The water is extremely clear. There is no surface bite. And technically here, I'm not going to restrict you to a stickworm, but I'll just say that unless you pick a stickworm, you're not going to be correct. How will you approach this situation? What's your bait? What's your rig? What's your line? What's your rod? What's your reel?
You want to go first? You're the guest, John. I'll let you go first, unless you want to defer.
Well, we can go ahead and probably agree on the bait, maybe. But they do that reverse shimmy rig that's tailor made for that. 14-pound Sunline shooter line, 7-foot heavy action Cashin Elite Series rod, and a high speed Daiwa Tatula reel. Pitch that right up against there. Let it bounce up against those that reed wall. You can lift it back up, and it'll head back towards that reed wall. And if there's one within 10 feet of there, he's probably going to smoke it.
I like it. Excellent answer, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Glusick, you're up.
That's a good answer, but here's why John's wrong. Yeah.
He said answer the question, not tell him why mine's wrong.
No, this is part of the Blue Six game strategy.
This is it's how to influence the judge.
Set the tone in the head of the person who has to judge it.
Gotcha.
And already you're at a deficit, John. You have no idea.
Pete speaks, they listen.
First of all, there's no such thing as a reverse shimmy rig. It's called the Dean's rig. Number one.
I sit corrected.
I sit corrected.
I'm sitting.
But that's that's a great. I agree, John. I'm going to the same exact rig, and here's what I do in this situation is I'm going to step up to a 16th ounce tail weight, and I like the mushroom tail weight by VMC because it allows me to crazy glue it into the tail of the worm, and it doesn't skip off or fly off. And with the density of the reeds, it's going to give me some additional penetration back through into those reeds. And I'm doing it with a spinning rod. And I know that kind of flies in the face of some of those big fish you can see in Florida. But here's what I'm doing as I see thumbs down coming from the Cruz missile. You're
in Florida, man. You can't do that.
Pete's going to compensate by turning the reel upside down.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip it in. That's going to allow me to skip better with the spinning rod. I'm going to use 15-pound test braid, and I'm going to step up to 16-pound test fluoro leader. Okay, this is going to be a really, really powerful get them up and get them out of there. I use the Cash and Shaky Head rod. It's got a strong backbone, and it's perfectly suited for getting those fish up and out. Big 4,000 reel, and that's how I'm going to dominate this tournament with the Dean's rig.
Damn!
Wow, those were a couple of outstanding answers. John, obviously, he went first, so naturally he took the early lead, and I thought he was going to win. I really, really thought he was going to win, especially when Pete mentioned spinning gear, which I'm fairly certain is illegal in the state of Florida. But
saltwater.
What pulled it out for Pete, John? I hate to do this to you, man.
Yes.
What pulled it out for Pete was he mentioned skipping, and in that clear water like we get sometimes around this time of year, backing off and skipping that bait and hitting it off that reed wall is really effective. I would have probably gone with anybody who wanted to pick weightless and skipping there, but I much as I hate to do this because I picked Pete last time as well. I got to give this one to the Dean.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Like 1 out of every 4 tournaments I suck in Florida, so this was the one I sucked.
I know the two of us in Florida. I don't know that I've ever really caught a Florida bass before.
The last two tournaments in Florida, I did really well. So I guess I was just due to not do well in this one.
Cruz catches them everywhere. John Cruz just catches them everywhere. And my next question this is for the panel because I want Riz and Brian to get in on this one. And John, this one is kind of a history lesson, but it's also kind of in your honor. So I'm expecting you to have the correct answer here.
Okay.
Today, June 4th, is the 114th anniversary of the birth of Carl Kiekhaefer. And if you don't know who Carl Kiekhaefer was, he was the founder of Kiekhaefer Marine, which became Mercury Marine. Oh. He's the guy who created Mercury. He was a 2-time NASCAR championship owner. He worked briefly for Evinrude, but he got fired. And the charge against him when he got fired, I'm going to read this, is for frequent disquieting and brazenly insubordinate arguments concerning design and product development. This was an ornery, difficult man, Mr. Kiekhaefer, who started Mercury Marine. This is a guy who also had more than 200 patents. He created the first 6-cylinder outboard motor in 1957. And he's a legend. He's a legend. He was a guy who didn't take no or maybe for an answer. He built the giant that became Mercury. The question I'm about to ask you, give you a little history on it here, is at the Bassmaster Classic when I worked for BASS, on the stage inside the expo. I used to be on that stage in the mornings and early afternoons while John was out fishing trying to win the classic. And at the top of the hour till the half hour, I would interview some legend of the game like a Ray Scott or a Bill Dance or Rick Clunn if Rick Clunn didn't qualify. And at the bottom of the hour, I would ask trivia questions. And I did this for like 10 years. And only in the last year I did it, did anyone ever get this question correct. And when they did, I was stockpiling prizes so that when somebody finally got it right, it would be worth winning. Whoever got this thing right got like 4 reels, 4 rods, a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, they got $500, $600, $800 worth of stuff easy. Here's the question. Why are Mercury engines black?
God, I know the answer to this question. I've heard it before, and I can't remember the answer to this question.
Last summer I took a tour of the entire Mercury plant and the entire Mercury history side, and I don't remember seeing it. I know they didn't tell me, but I'm sure it was in that museum that they had. But I mean, I looked through everything and I don't remember seeing it. So I don't know.
It's something to do with his wife, something, or the color. I can't remember what the answer is, but I've heard it before.
Pete's knocking on the door. Brian, Riz, you guys got anything here?
I'm out.
I don't got anything.
Oh man, I'm disappointed in Bass U.
I don't have anything appropriate to say.
This is be the first of many disappointments to come.
We're on the Riz tour. I don't know.
Bass U is the highest echelon of bass education.
I'm sure you had to knock the lower unit off of one.
That's why we got you here, Ken.
Me too.
Well, it's Pete was all around it, and here's the story, and it's interesting that John mentioned having been there on a tour, because that factors in too. Here's the deal.
Because buying bass boats is like a black hole for your money.
I'll
take that prize, Ken.
Send Brian a Bass U hat.
I got no prize, but luckily nobody got it right, so I don't have to come up with a prize. Here it is, and I bet some of the listeners know. In the late 50s, until the early 60s or about 1960, Mercury engines were white.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after that they became black. So for a long, long time, Mercury had an engineer who worked there called Charlie Strang. Mr. Strang died just a couple of years ago in his late 90s, and he was an absolute engineering genius. He worked in the plant in Fond du Lac for a long, long time, and one day he was being visited by his mom, Anne, and he took her on a tour, probably much like the tour John was taken on. Only this one was done by their head engineer, Charlie Strang.
And now they have 1 million square feet of manufacturing. Sorry, drop that in there.
Okay, probably not the same tour. A little bit smaller tour in the late 50s, early 50s. So he takes her all around. He says, and Mom, here's the marketing department, and over here's the sales department, and over here's this, over here's that. The last stop he made, of course, was the engineering office where he was working. And she asked him what he was working on. And he said, well, we're trying to make our engines tighter, more condensed, more compact. And it's a real challenge. There's just not a lot of extra space under the cowling for us to do anything with. So it's really presenting a lot of problems for us engineering wise. And she said, why don't you just do what a lot of heavy women do and paint it black? It'll look slimmer. Whoa. So the next day,
Witchcraft.
Charles Strang painted, I think it was probably a Mark 75 black, and set it down next to the white one. And he asked everybody in the plant to come through. And after they looked at it, he asked them, which one's smaller? And everybody picked the black one, even though they were identical in size. And since then, Mercury engines have been black.
That's cool.
Trickery.
Trickery.
Exactly.
That's why most often you can see me wearing black. Same exact reason.
Yoga pants.
You guys aren't going to believe me when I say this, but on the message board, one person actually did know the
Wow.
answer to that trivia question, Ken.
That's impressive. You know, and I got this information,
And
Riz, out of an old. I'm sorry.
The person on the message board that knew the answer to that question, name was Skinny Pete.
That's awesome.
How appropriate.
Send Skinny Pete a prize.
See how good Skinny Pete is, you know, because this is a segue into my next question for the audience. If we still got some prizes left, Brian and Riz.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Mercury's engine color has a name, a specific name. What is that color called? And it's not green pumpkin.
Jet black. What could it be called?
I'll give you a hint. It's not jet black.
Midnight black. It's
Stop guessing, Pete Glusick. Not midnight black either. Stop guessing before you hit it.
That's that's funny. I don't remember where I heard that story, but I had heard that story before. It's probably because I'm so old.
Bing,
that
bing,
I've
bing.
heard the stories.
Wow, we got a winner
already.
Yep. Bassmaster 2K2 with the answer. Not at the opera, but Phantom Black. Phantom Black color.
Very, very good.
Congratulations, Bassmaster 2K2. You won yourself a prize pack.
Well, speaking of colors, Brian,
Yes.
we're going to be talking colors with the boys at Tackle Warehouse.
That is correct, sir.
Are you ready to bring Corey in to do some more color talk?
Yes. Give me a couple seconds. I don't see Corey in the queue yet.
Okay.
Give me a minute.
Well, while we're waiting on Corey, I just want to throw John a little John Cruz trivia. John has qualified and fished 12 Bassmaster Classics, Pete, and only 41 guys have ever made it to that many classics. So every time John gets to the classic, he gets into more and more rarefied air. At 12,
it's
already really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he caught the last day of the most recent classic. John caught the biggest fish of the day at 6'10". And John, that is the 7th heaviest day 3 bass in classic history.
Wow.
So that was
awesome.
clutch, my friend. Clutch.
That's awesome.
6'10".
Yeah.
Jeez.
How does it feel, John? Like you are now the veteran out on the Bassmaster tour. Like you were up there. I mean, when everything changed and
It's a tad awkward.
You got old
It
quick,
was
John.
at the Classic because the at the Elite Series, there's Clun is still there, and there's some veterans there. And then when I did qualify for the Classic, I didn't realize that I had more Classic qualifications than Menendez, because Menendez has been fishing for a long time, but he had that sabbatical when his wife passed, and those things. And he had a little time off, so I guess I gained on him during that time. But yeah, it was a little awkward.
yeah. I mean, do you find that the younger folks are the younger guys are coming to you looking for advice, and information?
I mean, we're all peers, and I mean, most of them are tall enough they can pat me on the head, but but seriously, I've become friends with a number of them, a number of the younger guys. I've been friends with Stetson since before he came over to the Elites, and with Micah. I mean, Micah's still young, and he's a real stud. Speaking of North Georgia, he's a real stud, and as soon as he came over. He fished FLW, I think 1 year, possibly maybe 1 or 2 years, and then he's basically been at Bass ever since. And he's not going anywhere. He won that tournament last year, finished in the top 5 at the Classic this year. He's a stick. There's a lot of good fishermen. Well,
we're proud of you being part of Bass U and being the seasoned veteran over there at the Bassmasters. We like.
I'm no dean just yet. I'm no dean yet.
Well, I got to be honest though. In these I don't get to play at the big leagues anymore. So I I actually get, I think I'm going to start mailing myself trophies when I win the Bass U Battle.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I can put them on the wall.
I think these Bass U battles show that you would dominate at the elite level.
Well, yeah, if it wasn't for the actual execution part, I think I would,
Well, I'm guessing that you would do so well at the written port of the elite series. You wouldn't even have to hit the water. You wouldn't even have to watch.
That's the classic of the Dean. He would thrive in the written test, but the driving test, he has no chance,
Reflexes, damn it.
You just walk up to Tripp and hand him your blue book and you're done.
Yes. Wouldn't that be cool, But unfortunately can't win at practice. But I know we've got Corey from Tackle Warehouse is in the queue, and we want to bring him into the show because we're talking about colors. And speaking of trophies, I see a trophy dolphin or mahi mahi or something up there over your head there, Corey.
Yeah, that's my grandpa got that years ago, and that was one of the things I got when he passed away, and I figured the office was a good place for it, and that's where it is. It's pretty cool. It's not a trophy, but it's a nice one though.
Yeah. Are you in the Tackle Warehouse headquarters now? Or are you at home?
We are at headquarters now, so we have been given the green light to start coming back in the building. This week, it's just the guys like with our individual offices, and then we kind of got to work out shared office space and make sure we're social distancing and all that stuff to make it correct. And so next week the other crew's coming back, so we'll be full operation back to office wise back to normal, operational warehouse wise. We're still having to deal with all the stuff. But we're getting caught up there, too, on the warehouse side of stuff, too. We're catching up.
Well, that's great news, and it's good to have you on the show. Obviously, this is Corey from Tackle Warehouse. He's the man that knows everything about colors and lures and what's selling and what's not and what you need to get. And we're awful glad to have you join us tonight because we're talking about colors. And I know that's one of your questions that you're going to be handling or tonight is one of I don't want to step on you, as far
as you guys. So I've been in the middle of I guess you'd call it ICAST right now, trying to figure that stuff out. So I've been watching the show, but have you guys posed the question what the prize question is going to be for the audience yet, or no?
No, not your question yet. No.
So we're going to do a Tackle Warehouse prize pack. That's going to be a gift card, backpack, wheel covers, a bunch of stuff for the person that can guess the number one selling missile bait, and not just like bait, like product, but actual color. So I need to know the name of the bait and the exact color of the bait.
Wow. And what is it? Yes. That's a bigger prize pack than we're giving away, Corey. I think I have to object to this prize.
Guess it, Pete. Come on.
Pete will never
right
guess
after
it.
a prize pack, and we're giving it to him.
No, I'll be satisfied with the trophy I'm giving myself for winning the battle tonight.
Pete's guess for the number one selling missile bait would be a black Senko.
That's why I was going to guess, but I didn't want to ruin it for him. I wanted to at least throw his guess out there, throw his hat to it.
Well, we'll look for your answers. That's quite a gift pack, quite a generous gift pack, and that's pretty awesome. And we're going to have you on tonight while guys are guessing and trying to find it. Well, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight about some of the other really popular colors. And I got to be honest, and this is one of the reasons why we started doing this, because when I go shopping for stuff and looking for things, I want to know, not what everybody's talking about, but what are the actual best sellers? What are the things that are moving? Because that lets me know that's what people are catching fish with. That's, the most successful things in your part of the country. And man, you have all that insight for us. And we're talking about, the Missile 48. And our topic tonight is the best-selling colors of the Missile 48.
Is it?
Best-selling colors. Okay.
At least that's the memo I got, Corey. I screwed it up last week. It's likely that I screwed it up again.
2 for 2.
Yeah, I would call all stick baits an idea. I have an idea, but I could easily pull up the 48. You just give me about.
No, Corey, stick with the plan.
All right.
Stick baits.
So We can't. It would take me days to compile all colors across all stick baits.
Okay.
So I'm guessing you guys can guess what number one selling stick bait is.
Got to be Senko, right?
Yeah, Senko. I mean, no questions. I can give you some numbers on that if you'd like. It's pretty interesting. But so the top stick bait colors for Yamamoto is what we kind of went off of, and based off 5-inch, because 5-inch is our best selling. I mean, if you guys wanted to guess the top number one, I guess we could. If you guys want me to just list off what the top are, I don't know how you guys want to go about the color thing. Whatever you guys think. You can...
Well, go ahead and list them, Corey, because I'm pretty sure.
Come on, Ken. Let us know what the first one is.
Yeah, all right.
It's got to be 297. 297, Corey.
297 is correct. Green pumpkin, black flake. I mean,
yes.
it's double the next best selling, which is a pretty easy guess sometimes. But black blue flake is number 2. Green pumpkin magic in at number 3. Baby bass, watermelon black red, and then the first laminate comes in the mix, the green pumpkin watermelon, then another black blue tip, June bug, and then green pumpkin. Oh, and then it's 6-inch, and then green pumpkin, green purple flake. So it's in the top 10. It's almost all green pumpkin based colors, or a few black and blue scattered in there. And I mean, I think that's probably, to be expected. June, actually, I skipped June bug. June bug is number 8. So that's the first non-green pumpkin color, which is kind of what I expected. I figured there'd be a few more unique colors kind of sprinkled in that top 10, but not overall. I mean, we could pull up the 48 if you guys wanted to, but
no, that's good, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the same answer for number 1.
Would it be true? I do got. I guess it'd be a unique question for the room. Maybe would be for missile baits overall. Let's say missile baits for the whole entire year. And John, you get to guess last because you have a little insight into this.
Okay.
So I broke it up for the whole year and by seasons, and not oddly enough, but across every season, it's the same top 4 baits no matter what season it is. So since we're looking at spring, the top 4 for the whole year, all seasons, is the Ned Bomb, the D Bomb, the Bomb Shot, and then the Baby D Bomb across the board. What do you guys think the next in line would be for spring as far as all missile baits? Which bait is the number 5 seller in the springtime? And this spring specifically. And BTC, who wants to go first?
It's got to be the 48.
What's that?
It's got to be the 48.
I don't know.
What about the Shockwave?
Which one?
The 4 1/4.
BTC, got any guesses on missile? He's probably pulling up the website. He's smart right now.
Yeah, number 1 selling missile.
The number 5 sellings for spring, I guess.
Not number 5.
Well, because I told you the top 4 are the same the whole year. It's D Bomb, Creature Bait, Bomb Shot, Baby D Bomb, in no particular order. I'm just saying those are the top 4, not the order, but those are the top 4 all season long. What's next in line for spring?
Baby Destroyer.
It is the 48.
No.
Oh, John didn't get to guess. Shit. Sorry.
Oh, I held it up. I was like this.
Yeah.
I went like this.
I mean, it's pretty ironic that we're talking about it in spring. Yeah. It is the bait you're discussing, and it is the best selling. Besides your core top 4 baits for spring.
I can't believe Pete didn't get that.
I did.
And this doesn't factor in the quiver, because if the quiver was in there, it would bump somebody out of the top 4, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, just pulling up the numbers, looking at the numbers for, like I said, it's the same top 4 for the whole year. You factor in 2020, the quiver worm sneaks into number 3. So it's climbing pretty hard. And
it just came in March.
Yeah. And it's end of the year, it's going to be number 1 or 2. We'll have to see. Another one that stuck in the top 5 for 2020 is a Fuse 4.4.
Interesting.
It dethroned the Bomb Shot.
How about that?
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know what I'm amazed at too is we don't have a winner for
Yes,
this
we do.
prize. Riz is being quiet.
No,
over
we
there.
have a
Tried
winner.
it.
We
We
do.
almost
We
gave
have
it
a,
away thinking about it.
we have a winner.
Yes, we do. Go ahead, Rich.
I got to turn my camera back.
No, you
on
don't.
now.
No, there you
Oh,
go.
I know. Okay.
Phone's back on.
I wasn't talking because I don't have my camera turned on, and it's just awkward. You're just hearing a voice from, like the
Why was your camera turned? I forgot Riz was even here. Hi,
Yeah.
Riz.
Hey, man, what's up? How's everything?
What's your guess?
I got my box on Wednesday, man. Thanks. You guys rock.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so the winner of that question the answer was Ned Bomb in Green Pumpkin, and the winner was NJ Dale Jr., the same man that thought Gary Yamamoto's past career might have been NASCAR racing. So NJ Dale Jr., congratulations.
Never give
I
up.
knew I liked that guy. Knew it.
The Ned
Brian,
Bomb.
give me his info, then we'll get an order shipped out and get it over to him. It's got
Fantastic.
a $150 price package, and we'll get it out. And
Sweet.
hopefully he likes it.
Right on, man.
Man, that's awesome, John. The Ned Bomb is
Kill it,
fired up. People are jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a bait that so many bass fishermen are using to catch fish.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole Ned category, it's unbelievable how many baits are being sold. And I totally underestimated it, and I just I'm glad we created it because I couldn't find what I wanted. I just couldn't throw the stinking TRD because it just looked like nothing. I couldn't do it, so I had to create something that had some kind of like little action, just like for me mentally. And I'm glad it's worked out for the sales.
Do you have a machine now that is dedicated 24/7 to producing the Ned Bomb?
Well, as Corey alluded to, we're working our way that direction. That's all I can say.
I caught him on it yesterday, John, on the that laminate color you got with the green pumpkin and chartreuse.
Nice. The dill pickle?
Yeah. It's a little bit, it's real bright and egregious. It's got chartreuse tail and
Oh, yeah.
that one.
Yep.
I love the fire tails. I love them. It's just reminiscent of some old school baits that we had, back when I started fishing when they were still sailing, and
that was one of the
having trolling motors, and those baits are awesome. I love the different tail colors that you have on the bottom.
That was one of the things when we made that mold. We put that. You have to have a gate in the tail in order to do core shots and tail colors, and so we paid the fair good chunk of extra money to go ahead and have that gate made in there, so we could do those tail colors and the core shots as well. And those core shots have taken off. I'll be curious to see like where that plutonium and watermelon red core, where they are on the Ned Bomb sales.
I can tell you about 1, 2, 3 seconds.
Look at this. This is amazing.
I know.
Statistics.
So I'm guessing I don't know the colors, so I got to verify. But is the Fish Delicious, is that one of them or no?
Fish Delicious, that's a top seller. Yeah.
Is that one of the?
No, that's a 2-color laminate. Yeah.
What about the Superbug?
That's a 2-color laminate.
I should know.
All the core colors have core at the end of the name.
Okay, that makes it easier. They're creeping up. I mean, plutonium is the best-selling core one. It's number 11 overall. But I mean, that's for all of 2019 up until now. So
and those core shot colors came out at ICAST. So that's only half a year.
Yeah. So you look at Q1 for this year. Watermelon red core is number 4 overall, which is pretty impressive considering how many Ned Bombs we sell. I mean,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Man, congratulations, Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, man.
It's a huge success.
Well, it's catching fish, that's the deal.
Well, we're talking about stick baits. Corey, what can you tell us about hardware? Like, is there a certain wacky style hook? Because is that the most popular hook sold for stick baits?
I don't know. You give me a few. You guys banter for a few seconds here, and I can pull it up for you though.
Hey, Corey, I did get your email, but I was on the road all day. I didn't watch it while I was driving, like a responsible driver. So I'll watch it after we are done with the podcast here.
I was going to allude to it. John's kind of feeding it. It's almost like we planned this week. I mean, you're doing the 48, and that's a number 5 for spring. And John was gracious enough to put together a vlog for us to send over. And we just got the preview up last night for us to approve and get going. So on Monday, the next Tackle House vlog will be John Cruz fishing for bedfish.
Yeah, whacking them. It was fun.
Yeah.
We stumbled right into a good area.
Pete, while Corey checks into some of the other stuff here, I interviewed Gary Yamamoto about the Senko back in the late 90s when it was really just starting to catch on. And, of course, Gary had no idea that people were going to fish it the way they fish it. You know, he created it to try to be in competition with the Sluggo and the Zoom Fluke. And that's how he intended to fish it. But I asked him, I said, because I was curious about it too. I had not learned how to fish a stickworm by that point. And I asked him what hook he used at the time. And he told me he liked the Owner rigging hook. And that's still how I fish it whenever I'm fishing it Texas style. I still like that hook. But I know everybody's got their favorites. And I think, I'm not sure he still does, but for a while at least, Gary manufactured his own hook that he recommended for the bait.
Yeah, the Soinji or something like that, or
yeah. But I've just always stuck with that rigging hook.
He's got some crazy rods he uses with handles that are like 3 feet long, and I don't know what he's got going on, but he's got some crazy gear that I've never seen.
All right, John Cruz, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the number 1 selling wacky hook, which not a little surprised, not totally surprised, is actually the Laser Trokar Wacky Weedless.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good shape. I've not used it, but it's a good looking shape.
It's not what, to be honest, I mean, that's not what I expected, but it's
what did you expect, Corey? What did you think you were going
I
to
thought it was more like the Gamakatsu Stinger, or that's the G-Finesse with Aaron's hook.
Yeah, those are the two that I said that's what I fish with, and I know a lot of guys on tour do the same.
I mean, it's number, I guess, 4, and again, number 3 is the Ike approved Neko hook. So Ike is
nice,
coming in strong.
Yeah. Shout out to VMC.
Yeah.
Ike approved. So what about nail weights? Because me and John used the Dean's rig. I don't know what John calls it. It's something weird. But who's the best selling tail weights out there?
Best selling nail weights. Give me a few seconds.
And are they tungsten or are they lead? I'm curious.
Sorry, there's a lot of categories of pull through, so I got to kind of find them all. Sorry.
This is amazing that they can go through this information. He can go through this information.
Yeah. I mean, this is such fun stuff, for tackle junkies like us,
this whole idea started, we did that BU live or the Ike live show, and you guys were supposed to go home, and for 2 or 3 hours, you guys were just racking your brains, pick my brain.
I know. And of course, wait a minute. I can find that.
Yeah, that and the bottle of sake we were drinking.
That might have helped a little.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
So the number 3 are all VMC bait. Neko, the Neko VMC Neko, the VMC Half Moon Wacky, and the next one's not a weight like what it is, but it's the VMC Neko Skirt.
Oh wow, that one I cast.
2
years ago, right?
Did
so.
Yeah.
When that one came out, we were expecting it to be okay sales, and then we thought it'd be good, but we sold out. I mean, within the first week or two, it was pretty, and we couldn't keep up.
Wow.
So speaking of iCast, anybody got any ideas on what the best in show? Any ideas on what's coming out?
I have a giant list in front of me. I have no idea I haven't even looked at it. We've got a team these guys are working 12, 14-hour days to try to gather all this information around, try to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of new stuff coming out. You could ask all of them what's new. I still at this point honestly have no clue. So, we haven't got to that part of the process to what's going on, but we will be doing some type of iCast coverage. What we're doing, when we're doing it, to be honest, we're still figuring that out because of everything going on
Yeah.
cough. It's just things are changing daily and hourly. We think we're figuring it out and we get more roadblocks. So we'll do something. We'll have some video content for sure. We'll definitely get products on the site, taking pre-orders. It's just like everything else we're dealing with right now. It's tough to get what normally be a fairly relatively easy situation for us to get done is not. And ICAST is not easy for us, but we have a system in place that makes it we're used to. But now that it's not live or at Orlando, it's all the trades come apart. It's a debate.
And I just wanted to ask you this, Corey and Ken. I'm going to get to you next. Are you guys going to try to do something the same week that ICAST was planned, or are you just going to freelance it, or what are you guys planning? Do you even know?
That was the original plan, and we're like, well, heck, everyone's got that week off. It's perfect. No one's doing anything, and I'm like, hey, let's reach out to Bass and MLF and make sure that they're not scheduling anything on top of that. We get a phone call from Jim over MLF. Oh yeah, we're doing an event right then. I'm like, well, that sucks. Well, at least we can do the Bass guys that week. Oh no, we're doing an event right there too. So that's this whole process of ICAST. Like, oh, we'll do this. Well, that's not going to work. We'll do this. So I haven't committed to a date in my mind myself, let alone to our team, let alone publicly. We really don't know what we're going to pull off. All I know is we're going to figure out what new products are out there. We'll do our best to get as much as we can out to you guys, either via videos, and some of it might not have video content this year, unfortunately, just because of everything going on. But we'll get as much of the product we can on the site for you guys to at least check out, maybe pre-order. But I mean, like everything going on, even getting samples from them, getting them built and stuff that people thought they'd have ready for ICAST, it's not going to be ready now because the factories can't get it done until next year. So, I mean, everything is just going out of control. But we'll have some stuff. It'll be a lot of new cool stuff. Again,
I got you, Corey. I got you set up, man.
Yeah, no, Missile Baits is on top of it. I could probably go peek in and see what they have. I still don't know. But
we'll have you covered. So there'll be plenty of media from us, and I'm going to do the stuff for Spro as well. So we'll get you that as well.
Yeah,
Corey, is it true? Maybe you could confirm it. Maybe you can't yet. But is it true Savage Gear's actually going to release a donkey this year?
Not confirm nor deny.
Okay,
but
the iguana lure.
The iguana. Oh, all right.
Who said that? I can't see any faces. I don't know.
When they have a conference call with you, Corey, are they eyeing out that fish on the wall behind you?
They are. They do get pretty excited about it.
It's a walking bait.
Ken, let me throw it to you. Ken, what do you say?
I was just going to mention, and John can speak to this as well, because we both serve on the trade show committee at ASA. The American Sport Fishing Association is going to have a virtual ICAST this year. I took a look at it recently, and I know John has probably had a chance to see it by now, but if you're a media person or a buyer who is credentialed for ICAST attendance, not only can you go on and see a lot of new products, but you're also going to be able to vote in the new product showcase online. So now that doesn't give an opportunity for somebody who is not a credentialed media or buyer person, but I think those people can probably even go check out some stuff on the ASA site that might not be carried by Tackle Warehouse because it's a saltwater item or something like that.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you guys dialing us in. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do as Bass University, having been there for the last several years broadcasting live, and we're still working on our stuff, and we'll keep you guys posted here. And it's going to be an interesting year, and I'm interested to see how it all plays out. But guys, it was great, Bass University. I want to thank everybody for being here. Corey, thanks for all the amazing information. Appreciate it, buddy, and the amazing beard as well. And Ken, I'll send you a check for picking me again for the Bass U battle. I appreciate you.
It's Ken's in charge of picking all the trophies at ASA, just so you know.
How about it?
I appreciate that knowledge. That's awesome. JC, man, I miss you. It's good to see you.
Yes, sir.
And I wish you the best down there at Lake Eufaula.
Thank you, man.
Catch those big boys out off the ledges or wherever you find them. And,
I'm gonna give them hail.
Awesome. Hey, I want to thank all three of you guys for being with us tonight, and appreciate it very much. And we'll be watching all you guys, be in touch with all you guys real soon. So thanks very much for hanging out with us here at Bass U. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Everybody else watching at home, hang in there. We're going to have a like and share winner, which Riz is going to be picking here real soon.
Got it.
We're going to be giving away a great prize pack of Bass University gear that's almost as valuable as what Corey came in and just kind of upstaged us with the Tackle Warehouse.
How awesome is that, though? You watch Bass U live. You learn about bass fishing. You get to get your questions answered by one of the best anglers in the world, John Cruz, and then you get a prize. You get a gift card from Tackle Warehouse. What? If you're not taking advantage of that free deal, you're crazy. You need to do it now.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So come on over. If you haven't subscribed yet, guys, and you're watching this on the rebroadcast, it's bassu.tv. Come on over and check it out. We have 50 days free going on right now. We have a top order special going on right now for all annual subscribers, where you can get $50 off and a couple of great Berkeley baits, including the Berkeley Chapo, when you subscribe annually to bassu.tv. And do we have a winner, Riz?
We sure do. Our winner for the Facebook like and share is Johnny Milchling. Johnny Milchling, congratulations. You won yourself a Bass University official swag bag. I will be sending you a message on social media to get your contact information. Thank you for liking and sharing tonight's feed.
Awesome. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here with us, Riz, hanging out amongst your prop shaft bending and your hydraulic steering busting. And
we're good. We're back in the game now. The hydraulic steering fitting is fixed. I just got to run the line back through the wall of the boat tomorrow, because when I fished that tournament, I just rigged it on there as quick as I could, so it was laying on the back deck of the boat. So before the next tournament on Saturday, I'm going to get that tightened back up and in there, get everything cleaned up. So
awesome. Well, I also want to give a shout out to Rod Warrior USA, guys. RodWarriorUSA.com. They're build the most amazing rod covers. They float. They have the Bass University logo on them. You can get them customized, and 15% off over at RodWarriorUSA.com. Check that out. I am in the process of getting my boat built right now, and I'm getting the Humminbird Solixes all around. Can't wait. I can't wait to get the Mega 360 imaging rocking on all the places that I fish. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be with me real soon. We'll be producing a lot of our content out of that boat in the coming year. So look for that to come, as well as I have the Atlas hydraulic jack plate and the hot foot getting put on that new boat. Looking forward to that. So a lot of great stuff coming there. And BTC, what else do we have anything else left in the queue?
No, that's about it. I'm fumbling on our production end over here.
I could see that. I see at least most of our guests are still hanging in there.
They're such great guys. They want to stay, and I tried to remove them forcibly, and they showed up on the screen. I'm very embarrassed. I just want to shut this whole thing down. I would thank you so much to Corey and Ken and John for hanging out with us all night.
Yeah,
Ryan, I just want to find out if anybody thinks I'm high.
Yeah,
I know you got to ask Rich on the message board.
Yeah. You know what's going on, Ken, is everybody that's watching thinks they're high because I say goodbye to everybody and everybody's still there. So they're probably thinking, man,
it's because they're such great guys.
I'm high on bass fishing education. That's why I'm here.
No,
that's right.
We love it. We love that you guys are with us, and obviously it was awesome. And we're gonna shut it down, guys.
That's
Thanks,
right.
JC. Thanks, Ken, again. Thanks, Riz, BTC. Appreciate you guys. We're going to be back Thursday night, 7 p.m. next week with more Bass U Live. We'll be talking fishing, and maybe I'll get out on the water this week. I'm hoping to, and we'll be talking fishing, a lot of other great stuff, diving in deep.
Yeah, I'm fishing against Rich tonight, or Saturday. So
Saturday.
Yeah, there's a derb on the Chessie, and yep. See you out there, Rich.
Are you fishing? What are you fishing out of?
Maybe you'll see me out there. Maybe you won't. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. The Chester County Open.
Okay.
Travis Manson hit me up. I'm not good.
Oh, that's right. You and Travis.
I didn't cut Rich's list of potential partners for the event. So.
Gotcha. Hey,
it's good to have good friends, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Smallmouth Crush is a good.
I think you're in good hands with Travis.
Yeah. Thank you, Travis Manson.
Do you guys want to place a bet down right now?
Nah,
yes.
Nah.
Oh, whoa.
No, I talked enough shit. Rich is feeling bad about himself, as he should. So we'll leave it at that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
We look forward to hearing the results, man. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week with more Bass University Live. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
And we help you build confidence with new techniques. We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
We teach you to enjoy bass fishing.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.